Let's go back down to Melbourne now and catch up with the situation there under lockdown. Everyone's waiting to see whether lockdown will be lifted tomorrow night. I'm joined by Dr. Stacey Harris again, who's a Melbourne GP who's been outspoken against some of the quarantine controls, some of the health measures in Victoria over the past year. Good to talk to you, Stacey, again. How are you coping with lockdown and what's it meant to your practice?
The problems from last year have not been solved, and now we've got this third lockdown, and all I can say is people are angry, upset, depressed. I've got mainly parents coming in just no one has hope here in Victoria. When you see other states perform hotel quarantine so well and you see the failures here, it's astounding. We're in our third lockdown with no... We're all waiting on tenterhooks. Are we going to be, are the kids going to go back to school? This is doing far more damage than anything. Like, get the hotel quarantine and get all that up to scratch. Get the contact, trace, isolate system working. Get proper PPE for these workers and let the rest of society live.
Look, there's so much damage. We've talked about businesses and people losing money. I have people very close to me have lost work over the next few days. It's very depressing. We've spoken about regional Victoria and the seemingly ludicrous hardship imposed on them for no good reason.
Yes.
But to me, perhaps worst of all is keeping kids home from school again. What is the justification?
Oh, the kids, I don't know. I don't know. When we know categorically across the world, when the US is in the terrible state it's in, the kids, or a lot of the kids anyway, went to school and still are. I know they're homeschooling. But again, you can't compare us to the rest of the world. We are, not even cases aside, you've got to look at casualties and deaths, and we're not, you can't compare us to them. So to me, it's tragic the kids are at home. There's a lot of kids being triggered from last year. They haven't still dealt with last year, and yet they all were getting into the school year, and to be told to go back home, it's devastating. Devastating to my kids, but to all my patients and everyone I treat. It's so depressing. I can't believe we're here, and I can't believe, that we see New South Wales do it so well over Christmas. They did it so well.
Well, this is the point. There's no mystery. Here? There's no mystery. We have the example of how to do it.
Yep.
Now, you've put a banner up behind you posing one of the great questions of all time: why? In this case, you're saying why the lockdown?
Yep. Why? Lockdowns, according to the WHO, are to take the pressure off the hospitals when you're inundated, not for these cases that we're seeing that have been poorly dealt with, and yet we're hearing lies, we're hearing mistruths, we're hearing reporters being berated because they're asking the question that we're all asking: why are we here?
See, this is the point.
We should not be in lockdown.
We all understand that a lockdown is an extreme measure, and people like Daniel Andrews say they understand that. It's the extreme measure you take because it causes so much hardship to people in all sorts of ways, but you only take it if you feel you're losing control. How can he say that they're losing control when they were dealing with 2 or 3 locally transmitted cases a day?
Well, I'll tell you how, because I know some patients who were involved over Christmas with contacts that they went to restaurants that had cases there, and one family were contacted 9 days later from the so-called excellent contact tracing team that we have. Luckily, these people found out from the newspapers and they tested and self-isolated. But if you look at that, I can only just see why these stuff-ups keep happening, because we're not like New South Wales. No matter what anyone says, New South Wales have got it down pat. Why do they get it so right? And here we are a year later in lockdown. We don't know if we're coming out of this. This is what's scary for the kids. It's wrong. It's really wrong.
Are they talking to GPs? Are they getting feedback from what's actually happening in the suburbs and the towns, in real communities, through real general practices?
No, well, not as far as I know. We're just the same old head down, keep working, keep seeing these patients that you can't get in to see psychologist, psychiatrist, the same old story just keeps going on and on. And I'm, it gets to now where we all feel trapped. We all feel, and again, there's no conspiracy theory. No, people say, oh, well, we're just thinking this doesn't exist. Yes, we do. We know it's here. But get your act together, get it like New South Wales, and let the whole of Victoria, let us live, for goodness sake. These poor kids are suffering. We're all suffering.
Stacey,
as you say. Oh.
Stacey, we see your pain and feel your frustration. Thanks so much for talking to us.
No worries. Thanks for having me on. Thanks.
Dr. Stacey Harris there, who's a Melbourne GP. As you heard, the enormous frustration, the knock-on effects, third time in Victoria. It doesn't make any sense, does it? Let's bring up my old mate Johannes Leek's cartoon. He sent me in a preview of tomorrow's cartoon for The Australian, and it's another cracker. He's got chairman down there saying, and frankly, I'm sick and tired of having my gold standard quarantine program rubbished by the media as we have these people filing out of hotel quarantine with green bin liners over their heads. Well done again, Johannes. Brilliant stuff.